What's up, Internet? This is Rambling Josh, and you're watching another episode of Let's Play Fire Emblem. Today we have Chapter 7, Siblings Abroad. Now, before I really get into things here on this episode, I need to point something out. You may have noticed, if you looked at the clock, that the time on the save file is a little shorter than it was last time. And the reason for that is because I managed to completely delete my save data, which is rather unfortunate, but thankfully I'm pretty close to the beginning still, so I was able to play through the first 7 missions again pretty quickly. And that has all kinds of implications. Just because of the nature of how Fire Emblem works, a bunch of things are a little bit different this time around. I also did things a little bit differently, knowing exactly what's going on in each mission a little bit better this time. But I'll point out some of the more specifics once we actually start doing things. For now, we have this fellow, who's being pursued by some ruffians of some description, I guess. That's not very nice. Well, I guess, or maybe they're up to no good? Question mark? What a jerk. Where'd he come from? Why is he just standing in this room? Catholic, huh? I guess we're pretty close. Well, there's always delays. Always. So, this fellow here, I don't know if they mention it, or if they have mentioned it rather, but his name is Niles. Or Nils, I'll probably just call him Niles. And he follows an archetype known as the George archetype, I believe it's pronounced. It's spelt like George, but with a J. But anyways, it's, the archetype basically refers to a character who appears to be some kind of like traveler, maybe like a bard or something, but in truth has a little bit more than meets the eye. Which you might have surmised by the fact that these guys are being like pursued by people. I mean, why would they be being pursued if they didn't have something of worth? Well, if he's got a sister. How old is your sister? I don't think getting there any faster will make him any less poisoned, though. I mean, I guess if it's like a slow, gradual thing, then he'll have less time to consume poison. Well, Lynn's a good guy. Good guys can't let any wrongs go unpunished. You the boss, lady. Well, he's certainly loyal for someone who's only met her, like, so long ago. Sounds like a plan. Uh-huh. That U looks a whole lot like a V for some reason. I guess it's just the font. Hey, I just tell you what to do. You're the strong one, I guess. Oh no! Nurgle, huh? So I guess Nurgle wants something with this fellow. Get him! I'm the one who's going to kill you. Yes. Or maybe it does concern me. Maybe you just don't realize it. Or will I? So, with this mission, we can now use the unit preparation screen. So you can see at the top, it says 8 out of 8 units, but we have 10 units available to us. So we have to choose which units we want to take to this mission. And I think I will also take Kent. We'll also get the chance to arrange the items that our units have in this mission, or during this stage. So we can kind of switch between words. We can trade items between people. So I think for the time being, what I'm going to do is trade some spare items over to Urk. Because if I have too many items equipped, then I will not be able to... Everyone seems to have a vulnerary. Then if an enemy drops an item and you don't have any room in your inventory, then you're kind of screwed. And I believe that we can also switch around which units go where, with the exception of Lynn. So let's go something like that. Usually you want your mounted units to either be in the very front or the very back. Let's go like that, actually. If they're in the back, then that's a good place for them because they can kind of catch up to the slower units and kind of sit on the front row together with them. But if they're in the front, then they can kind of ride out in front of everyone else and kind of get to stuff quickly. Anyways, select to go back to the menu, and start to begin the fight. A shaman, huh? Dark arts, indeed. What? Who are you? Bishop, huh? No? Oh, he's just a newbie. Lucius, huh? Lucius is an interesting character in that he actually has his own archetype, which is kind of weird because he's not the first person who fit into his archetype actually appeared in Fire Emblem 4. But I guess it's named after Lucius for whatever reason. And basically, it's just the Lucius archetype is just a kind of really righteous, nice, kind of humble guy who's like a religious character. I think all of them end up opening up orphanages after the game, but their primary defining characteristic is that they look distinctively female. So, yeah. All tasteless jokes aside, he's a bishop? Monk dude? I don't need your blessings. Now, the reason we get Lucius here is because this guy uses dark magic. Lucius uses light magic. You might see a little up arrow next to his lightning spell, which is actually a light magic, despite being kind of poorly named. And in Fire Emblem, in addition to having a weapon triangle, there's often also a magic triangle. What the magic triangle actually looks like changes a little bit from game to game, but in some games it's a triangle formed by the animus element spells, so like I think fire beats lightning, lightning beats wind, and wind beats fire or some such. But that's not how it works in this game. In this game, light magic beats dark magic beats anima magic, and anima magic beats light magic. But it doesn't really play all that big of a deal, or role rather. And Niles, as a bard, has the ability to prance about and toot on his flute, which somehow magically reinvigorates a unit and allows them to take a second turn, or rather a second action during the same turn. But we are not actually going to be using Lucius, which, if you're not like super familiar with the game, I would recommend that you do, especially if you're not using Urk, because he is a magic user, and it's good to have a magic user around, as I've described previously. And not using Lucius or Urk means you basically just don't have anyone to do magic damage with. But the reason I'm not using Lucius is because he's a monk and he has access to light magic, and eventually he gains access to staves. Sarah, on the other hand, has access to staves and will eventually gain access to light magic. So it's kind of like you choose which one of them you want to use. Personally, I prefer to use Sarah, but that's just personal preference. So I'm going to be using her long term, but not Lucius. Which is probably not the smartest idea ever, but it's... well, I mean, personal preference is just that. Now, anyways, now that all that stuff is out of the way, let's start talking a little bit about how this is different from the previous time through the game. Because, as I described earlier, I had to play through the first 7 missions all over again. The biggest difference is that this time around, Lynn only has 6 strength instead of 8. The rest of her stats are a little bit more well-balanced, but not having that strength is a bit of a hindrance. Other than that, though, Sane and Florina are both actually a fair bit stronger than they were last time around. Sane has 11 strength, which is ridiculous. His defense is a little lower, but I think he's a little faster as well. And Florina is actually pretty beefy so far. 7 strength has helped her a lot so far. Also, in the mission before... How'd it go now? Oh, whatever. Long story short, I preemptively bought her an Iron Lance. Because, right, in the mission where you get Florina, there is an armory where you can buy an Iron Lance. So I bought her one, knowing that her Slim Lance might break, and that if I were to use that exclusively, my only option would be to buy her a Javelin, which doesn't really work for her. It's just a little bit too heavy. An Iron Lance is pretty heavy as well. It's not quite as heavy, but it's also a little bit stronger than a Slim Lance. And 4 speed penalty is enough that her speed can kind of make up for it for the most part. But between the extra strength on the Iron Lance and the extra strength that she's gained from leveling up, she's actually doing a pretty good amount of damage so far. And other than that, I believe Sarah's a little bit higher level, and Matthew probably is as well. The main reason for that being that because Lynn only has 6 strength, compared to the 8 the last time around, she actually wasn't able to do any damage to the boss from the last mission. You might recall she was doing 2 damage. So having 2 strength less means she was doing exactly 0 damage. So instead of attacking him repeatedly with Lynn, what I did was I put Kent in his attack path and took away all of his weapons, so he would just eat attacks and not counterattack and kill him. And then I just did that until I was satisfied and healed all the way up with Sarah, consequently causing her to only have 1 durability on her heal staff left. And Matthew actually got the kill on him with the Armor Slayer here. So that's worked out pretty well for him. Both of them, in fact. Now, Lynn is level 7, Sane is level 6, and Florina is level 6. Those are kind of my main 3 fighters at this point. Oh, wow. Oh, because the Iron Lance. Sim Lance she could double attack with. By this point in the game, we're kind of approaching the time where the weapon triangle starts to matter a lot less, and you can just kind of brute force your way through it. Especially with the way that I'm focusing on using specific characters rather than spreading the experience out, because like these guys are only level 2, which is nothing. So even though this is an axe user, Florina is not going to have any trouble taking him down. And in situations where Florina doesn't have the ability to double attack even with the Slim Lance, the Iron Lance is a better option because it does a little bit more damage. But also in this situation I would attack with the Iron Lance just because one attack is going to kill him anyways, and Iron Lances are a lot easier to come by than Slim Lances. In fact, this guy drops an Iron Lance. As you can see. Now, oh, Nils can't run that far. Okay, that's unfortunate. I'm not gonna bother keeping Lucius and Kent up with the party. Actually, I might get Kent up there. The reason being for that is just because he has no equipment, but he has a good defense. Well, 5 isn't amazing, but it's decent. And the reason that's important is because the enemy AI will often beeline enemies that aren't able to counterattack. So if you have an archer, then enemy melee units will often go straight for them, knowing that they're not going to be counterattacked. And so the same thing works for Kent. So having a beefy unit but taking their weapons off is a good way to kind of draw attention to them rather than your weaker units like, say, Sarah. Anyways, so we just bought her 2 new heal staves because, well, I'm probably going to need them. I might as well buy a couple because spamming healing is... it tends to wear out the uses of your staves pretty quickly. Then we can give Sarah another turn so she can get kind of, not on the front lines, but near them. It's often a really good idea to give Sarah double turns, just either so she can perform double healing duty, or... well, yeah, pretty much just that. Because she needs to get as many turns as possible to get experience as quickly as she can. So, yeah. Niles actually gets experience through a similar manner as Sarah, just by playing, which you can technically do an infinite number of times. You can, if you really wanted to, you could just sit there for like, what is it, 10 experience per turn, 10 turns per level. So 200 turns would get him up to level 20, or 190 I guess, because he's already level 1. So if you really wanted to, you could just do that, and it kind of like wouldn't even really be, it'd be really tedious, but certainly wouldn't be hard. So he's pretty easy to level up, but what I was trying to get at is he levels up in a similar manner to Sarah in that they both level up through non-combat means, so they don't have to kill anybody to get experience. And that's kind of why they kind of make a good pair in that regard. So getting Florina up to this village here. This guy has a whole lot to say about magic that I've mostly said already, so we're just gonna go through it. One of the things you have to be careful about with villages is you often want to get to them pretty quickly, actually. Because occasionally... oh, I have to ditch something. I think I'm just going to ditch the pure water? No, I think we'll ditch this damaged iron lance. Mostly because I think I might be able to sell the pure water for a decent amount. Oftentimes villages, if you leave them too long, enemies will kind of go up to them and ransack them. And whatever item or whatever that village would give you is no longer available to you. Usually it's brigands that will ransack villages, but not always. Or, no, not always. It's usually some form of axe user, though. Now, that pure water that Florina got, what that does is it gives you a temporary boost to resistance, so reducing the amount of damage you take from magic attacks. This guy has 6 HP. There's no way Matthew would be able to kill him. 3 defense. Matthew has 7 attack? 9 attack, okay. So, oh, I guess Matthew could. Okay, let's do that. So, pure water, like I said, increases resistance, and the effect of the pure water reduces by 1 every turn. I think it grants 8 or 9 resistance. But ultimately, I just find that it's not really all that useful, to be perfectly honest. So I'm just going to sell it. Mostly just because I want to get it out of my inventory. So heal up a little bit here. So heal staff broken, but we got 2 more. It's actually... is anyone damaged? Anyone? No, we're all good. No, not Niles. Play for Florina. Depending on what mode you're playing, or not playing, but what mode you plan to play after Lynn's mode, leveling up Niles can be pretty important, actually. Let's see how much I can get for this pure water. 450. It's not too shabby. And the reason I say that is because if you are playing on Hector's mode specifically, let's move Lynn up there, I guess. Okay, well, I guess before I explain that, I've got to explain something else. In this game, in certain missions, there is available something called a guided chapter, which is basically just like a side mission that you can unlock by performing certain, or fulfilling certain requirements in that specific mission. Matthew, look up there? Yeah. Yeah. So, as an example, this mission actually does have a guided chapter in it. Specifically, if we complete this battle in 15 turns or less, then we can unlock Chapter 7X. So, go to status, we can see we're on turn 5, so we have plenty of time. And the reason that is significant is, well, in general you want to do as many missions as you can. If for no other reason than because the more missions you do, the more chances to get experience you have, so the stronger your characters can get. But beyond that, I guess what I was going for... Wasn't Lynn damaged? Is that not... Or was it saying... No, I thought someone was damaged. I guess not. Okay, well, whatever. What was I going with this? If you're playing... If you plan on playing Hector's mode after Lynn's mode, which we can't do, but if you were, it's actually really important to level up Niles during Lynn's mode here. So, at one point in Hector's mode, there is like a super secret guided chapter that you can unlock. But there's one really hard requirement to fulfill. And in addition to doing that, Niles also had to have gotten beyond level 7, or like level 7 or higher in Lynn's mode. So if you want to unlock that super secret Hector's mode chapter later on, then it's really important that you get Niles up to level 7 in Lynn's mode. Which isn't hard, but like I said, it can be pretty tedious. But not having to do Hector's mode, or not having the option even, that's not something we really have to worry about. One thing I do want to mention though is that if you really wanted to get through this mission quickly, it's actually pretty easy. You start here, and the boss is down here. It wouldn't be at all hard to just send Florina down across the mountain range and just stab this guy in the face. He's a magic user, and Florina's really good at taking out magic users, so it's not like it would even be hard. Can I do this? I don't want to go that far up. Niles is pretty squishy. I'm wondering if I can go after that magic user with Matthew. Can hit him. Might as well beat him up a little bit. Matthew's still a little bit behind. I think he's level 5 right now. Maybe 6? Level 6. Unfortunately, he only has 4 strength, but that's not that unusual. Thieves are not really made for dealing damage. Another option would be... Well, obviously I could just attack him with Florina, but a good strategy for Florina, actually, is to just put her in the range of a magic user to kind of draw them out. Then equip a javelin so that she can counterattack, because javelins can double as a ranged attack, as it says. So even if he attacks from 2 squares away, Florina is still capable of counterattacking that. How far can this shaman attack? Yeah, let's do that down here, actually. Go right there, the javelin, and leave her be. Who is this? Is this the same? Okay. I'm just gonna leave Kent there. He's not really doing anything. So, he tries to attack Florina. It's not gonna be particularly effective, although shamans tend to be kind of the most beefy of magic users. They tend to have the most health and defense, as well as Also being the slowest. Just something to keep in mind. So let's sense... Oh, she could have healed Matthew. That's unfortunate. I didn't notice that. I do want to abuse as much healing as I can with Sarah, but I do have to be careful not to take too long because of the whole 15 turns thing. It's more important to get the guy in chapter than it is to get as much experience as I can with Sarah, even if that is important as well. So, heal him up. Kill Mage with Matthew. I'm actually getting a lot more use out of him this mission than I thought I would. Luckily, because he got healed in between those attacks, I can get an extra heal out of Sarah now because... well, because. Might as well... Can I just save this guy for Matthew? Like, I guess I might as well. In that case, let's put the Iron Lance back on, just in case he attacks Florina. Let's visit this village. This is Hector. He just happens to be here. I wonder why he's sitting around here. And I might as well sit on the forest for the extra avoidance. Houses do help, but not as much as forests. And Sane's just kind of here for posterity. Actually, is he gonna... he is gonna go for Sane. Okay, well, he missed. I was kind of... if he hadn't missed, then that was another heal that I would have missed. Curses. Niles. Can't get Sarah to do a second heal this turn. But it shouldn't matter. Now, how am I doing on turns here? This is turn 8, so we still have a good amount of time. There's only 2 enemies left. Actually. Right. Matthew was going to kill this guy. That's what we were going to do. Now, what I would like to do is have Matthew and Sarah just kind of spam the 2 remaining enemies all on their own. And I've tried it before, and it would take a long time, but it would be good for experience for both of them. But the key point there is the fact that it would take a long time. Time which I do not have. Mostly because of said time limit. Can I visit this place with Lynn as well? Does anything different happen? No. That's kind of unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? So, how are we gonna do this? Okay, Sane, you walk up here and just sit pretty. Sarah, you heal him. And then Nils, you reinvigorate Sarah. And Sarah, you heal... is it Matthew that needs healing? Or no, it's Florina, isn't it? No, she's also fine. Okay, well, whatever. Guess I'm just gonna move up and start killing stuff. Go with my javelin strategy here. And end the turn. The funny thing about this particular shaman is I'm pretty sure he's actually stronger than the boss. For some unknown reason. So, let's see. 22 HP, he has 2 magic, 5 defense. This guy has 22 HP, has 3 magic, and 3 defense. So, he's not stronger, but he's more resilient. 5 resist. He's got more magic resist as well. Okay. So he's stronger than the boss in some ways. Okay, move Lynn up. Move Sarah up by 1. Nils play his flute. He's almost leveled up. And healification. I think Sarah's almost leveled up too. Yeah, she's doing pretty good. She's almost gotten a full level this mission. Not too shabby. Move Matthew up. He should be able to help contribute against the boss. Let's actually do this. Sane should be the target of the attack from the boss, and Sarah should kill this guy. Yep, I was actually kind of hoping that would hit her, so Sarah could heal her. And then the plan would be for Niles to play for Sarah again, who would then go heal Sane. If you say so. I mean, I kind of killed all your guys already. Well, he did do damage to Sane, so that's something to heal. Actually, a really good strategy for taking on bosses in general is to have Sarah heal a character, if they need it, have the character attack the boss, and then have Niles play for Sarah and have her heal the character again to heal up any damage that the boss might have done on their counterattack. That kind of works. And I can only have one person attacking the boss in melee at a time. What turn am I on? Ooh, 11. We're starting to run out of time here. Let's do this. Do some damage with Florina. And I guess I'll call it quits there for now, for this turn. He's going to heal up a little bit because he's sitting on a castle. If I had moved Sane out of the way, he would have attacked Florina, and because she's in melee range, she would have counterattacked. But no such luck. Or no such... Not luck. Luck has nothing to do with it. That's just not something that I did. Level up! Yay, magic. I'm always happy when Sarah gets magic. It increases how much she heals with her staff, but it's also going to help her use tomes, light magic tomes, later on when she gets the ability to do that. Okay, heal up Florina. What I think I'll do this turn is use a javelin. Unfortunately, javelins are not especially accurate. And use the iron sword. And a miss. Okay. Now, so he's probably gonna go for Lynn. Oh no, Sane is still in range. Okay, I forgot about that. He's not likely to go for Sarah because being a magic user, she actually has a pretty high resistance. Like, I think she actually has one of the highest resistance growths in the game. Well, Lynn didn't take any damage. What turn is it? 13. Okay. Double attack. I didn't think he had a double attack. Okay, well, heal up Florina. Toot the flute. Level up for nails. It would be strange if he didn't get any luck. More experience. What is she, level 5 now? It's not bad. And hopefully Matthew will kill this. Okay, I guess he's not gonna kill this guy. He's got a surprisingly good evasion, but I think it's mostly just because he's sitting on top of the fortress. Wow, 15 experience just for attacking him. Yeah, it's gotta be just because he's sitting on the gate. And I'll try throwing a javelin at him. Cool, it worked. That wasn't the way I was hoping it would go, but it works. I took him down within the 15 turns. I could have gone faster if I had just been like, you know what, I'm just gonna attack him with like Sane or Lin or something. But I chose not to. Where is she? I guess we were a little too late. That's unfortunate. Hmm? Why, yes, we are in fact. And this is Elliewood. Seems he decided to play the hero while we were busy killing everyone. I will say that it's convenient that we don't have to do everything ourselves for once. She seemed like she needed saving, so I saved her. Well, being a different Marcus's Marquis? Is that how it's pronounced? Son, I guess he would know Marcus K. Lin. Well, that's good. I guess it's Marquez. It's a weird word, no matter how you pronounce it. I'm pretty sure that's not really a generalization that you can make. I mean, it's nice to say, but I'm pretty sure that's just going to lead to disappointment at some point or other. Maybe that's a pessimistic way of looking at things. Why would you deny help? Well, everything seems to be in order. You're the one who got kidnapped. Not a problem. Yeah, we kind of got that. Really? So Nergal and his henchmen were just chasing after you because he really wanted you to play at his birthday party. That's what's up? That's it, really? Hossein. Interesting. A sacred dance? Her other dance, though. If you know what I'm saying. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, where exactly are you traveling in general? Just away from the bad men? We got our own problems, kid. We don't need yours too. Well, she can't do anything, apparently. Yes, she can repay you with her special talents, performing her other dance. Really? Well, that is useful, actually. That could be handy. That is also true. I like how it's just like, yo, what's up? Oh, okay, yeah, never mind, bye. Hello? Well, that's unfortunate. Ninny's Grace. Hmm. Interesting. Well, that's unfortunate, but if there's nothing we can do. Or is it foreshadowing? I think I'm a tactician and I don't have any say in the matter. And this is the side quest. So, as the description says, we actually get the choice whether we want to go on the side quest or not, but there's really no reason not to. So with this, we will be partaking in Chapter 7X. Let's do it! So anyways, with that done, we leave it here for today on Let's Play Fire Emblem. Catch you later!